Project Survive is City College of San Francisco's award-winning, nationally recognized sexual violence prevention program. To celebrate the program's 20th anniversary in fall 2014, Rosenberg Library mounted a celebratory exhibition, co-curated by librarian Kate Cannell, instructor Amber Strauss, and peer educator Tracy Richa.
The first time I saw Project Survive presentation in one of my women's health classes, I knew right away that I wanted to get involved. I wanted to be a part of this. So I marched up to Leslie right afterwards and asked her what I could do, how I could get involved. And I was really excited that she brought me on. And when Leslie and Amber mentioned they were doing this wonderful exhibit for our 20th anniversary, I was really excited and I really wanted to help in any way I could. So I took what little knowledge I have of design, and we worked as a team and knocked it out. I think that the biggest challenge in designing this exhibition was to put all of our accomplishments that we had on this timeline into something visual. Leslie and the team have done so much over the past 20 years, so I wanted to find a way to bring all of these really great events and all of this really great information into one kind of succinct thing that someone can look at and go, oh, okay, that's what they're all about, that's what they've done. So we came up with this a timeline, but it's kind of like a flowy timeline, showcasing everything that Leslie and the team have accomplished over the years.
The following spring, Project Survive hosted a party at the exhibition.
I love the exhibit because it's a chance to try to capture how this amazing program has affected students and everything that it's done. There's so much that is intangible, and it's hard to capture. Leslie and the program has trained these amazing women and men, these incredible educators, peer educators, to do the important work of changing society. So it's just an amazing thing to see it all manifest and to see it represented and to hear the voices of many of these educators. So I love it.
I've been working with Leslie Simon and Maggie Harrison for the past 4 years in the Women's Study Department. Working there and learning more about myself because I have a daughter. And so now I can teach my daughter to not be in a bad relationship with a man or anyone, or if she got any friends, will she know the signs of doing it, because I've been through domestic violence with my ex-husband. So by me working with Maggie and Leslie Simon is truly a great honor.
The exhibit as a whole is very powerful. I think it's very powerful. But I think if you walked by it, you wouldn't completely notice, right? It's nothing that really jumps out. But I think that kind of speaks to sexual violence today, that if you walk right past it, and a lot of times in our community, we don't see it. We don't care to look. And you would never notice if you don't look. And so I think that's like this exhibit. Because when you dig deep and you look at the paintings and the dresses, and you try to figure out the stories behind them, they're so powerful. Instead of these cemetery stones, we have dresses for women who were victims of sexual violence. It's really deep. It's a really powerful exhibit. My favorite art piece of this exhibit is one of the sketches. I think it's number 3, one of Juana Alicia's sketches, and it's of this woman. It seems to be a mother, and she's holding her son's fist up, their fists. And it's just so powerful to me. It's like she's telling her little boy to stand up and to rise up. And she's guiding his fist towards justice.
It highlights hope, it highlights strength, and it highlights just so much. And it also highlights not only, the fact that strong women of color can prevail, but also women as a whole can prevail. And that is one of the main reasons why I am a part of Project Survive, because I am a genderqueer, lesbian identified Latina, and I think that there needs to be more representation, and Project Survive is definitely a stepping stone to give not only people their voices, but also give them the confidence to be like, I am here, I deserve this space, and we can change the world.
I want all of you who are peer educators now or past to please rise, because you are the heart of the program. Please stand up, peer educators. ALYCE, SHELLA, please stand up. Yes, 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 yay. These young women, and there are some young men, and we need more men. Stay standing, please. They deliver 400 presentations. Not all. They've got some friends helping them, but 400 presentations a year. 200 at the college, 200 in the Unified School District. They're amazing. And when the school district put in a new curriculum for sexual health, they said, we want, our higher school component is called Expect, Respect, SF, I forgot to tell you that. So ERSF, they said, we want ERSF to be our presenters. We don't need anybody else, we just want you. So thank you to the peer educators.
So today I stand here to represent 200 individuals over the spans of 20 years. Little old me, 200 people. How am I gonna do that? 200 people with very different personalities, strong, wonderful, beautiful personalities coming from different places in City College of San Francisco, all over our wonderful Bay Area. 200 people who make themselves vulnerable, who've made themselves vulnerable in front of countless classrooms. What was it, 4,000 presentations? 4,000 presentations, vulnerable. Not that's the first time they practice their presentation, hoping that no one's gonna notice that they're doing it for the first time, that they're not, the most eloquent of speakers, yet somehow they let their passion show. 200 people with enough courage to speak out and basically show what they believe in. 200 people, and little old me, okay? So the thing is, how can I kind of express what 200 people would want me to say? Well, it's kind of easy, isn't it? Walk with us. Join us. Believe in our cause. If you can't become a peer educator yourself, at least support what we do. And I know that you do in many shapes and forms. I look at all the different clubs at City College of San Francisco, and I'm just amazed at every single one, because they all kind of join in one passion and one voice: social change, social justice, passion for us, the people. So walk with us, commit to us, because with us, we can literally change our world, and we're literally doing it here. Thank you.
Over the years, I have had students in my class come to me and tell me about either a domestic violence situation or a sexual assault. And I know that if that had happened at other schools, I would have just been completely clueless on what I could do. I'd probably try to give them a phone number somewhere or whatever, but every single time that it happened, and I would say it was somewhere between 5 and 10 times over the years, that I was able to literally take that student and walk them to the Project Survive office. And I'm telling you, like, it meant so much to these students who needed support and help to have somebody able to say, I can get you help, and it can happen right now. And if it wasn't that they could just go there and be there for them, what would happen to people? There's a place for them to go to get the support that they need, and it connects all of us, like your classes are connected to the project, to the school, to the help. And it just touched my heart that I was able to be part of that and help in that way. So it's always personally meant a lot to me. And it's such a dramatic thing when somebody comes to you and is telling you this story. So it has touched me in a way that's very personal. And I really want to thank you for that so much, and the great work that you've done and continue to do. We should all support that.
So I want to pick up just for a second where Tim left off, which is to ask you for a moment, how many of you have been in some way touched by Project Survive, sitting in this room, right? So I want you just for a moment to imagine, maybe even close your eyes and imagine what it would be to not have Project Survive for the students at this college and all of the amazing work that spreads out from here and from Project Survive. Not every college has a Project Survive. Not every college is the kind of college that enables 20 years ago even to bring forward these kinds of projects, these kind of peer-mentored projects, to nurture them and support them so they can spread out, ripple out throughout San Francisco. It should be a shining beacon for the kind of work that we do at City College and in San Francisco and elsewhere. So glad you're here today. Thanks.
And learning how to communicate, learning the peer education that happens through Project Survive is so important, not just to empower women, but also to educate men, the young men in our community as well. And they are victims too. And so we need to empower all of ourselves to have safer spaces, but also more compassionate relationship building. That's something that we all need.
It was just such a healing experience to be able to be in the classroom and to learn about healthy relationships, to learn about the cycle of violence, to learn about all these issues that I saw in my life growing up but didn't always have the words for it. And this is just such a powerful program. Project Survive is so necessary. It's like, this needs to be everywhere, right? It's not just needs to be at City College and SFUSD. This needs to be across the whole freaking country, right? Because yes, across the nation.
But the best way to learn of the legacy and importance of Project Survive is to hear the testimonials of those peer educators who have witnessed the impact of the program on their own lives and the lives of others.
When I first saw Project Survive, it really shouted out to me because I've had people who are really close to me in my life who've been in very abusive relationships, and I never knew. I felt like I was trying to help them and I could never understand, and it was so devastating to me. And then when I started to learn more about it, I realized I had been in abusive relationships myself and kind of understood a lot of what my mom had gone through and just this whole generational trauma that has happened in my life that I never understood or knew how to put words to, and how much that held me back from even being in school. In my life, having a disability and having trauma on top of that. And so for me, when I first saw the presentation, I was like, if I want to be in school, I need to do this work. It's the only thing that would keep me in school. I feel like once I started working, that's when I really started to learn. It's like the class was really amazing and a lot of information, but once you start to teach, for me, that's when I really started to, things would sink in, and because students would ask questions and be like, oh, that's right, how can you really respond authentically to each individual in a classroom? You have to really understand the material.
I took the class and became a peer educator, and it was very much a growth experience. And in addition to being on my own healing path, which for all intents and purposes started back in 1992 at the age of 27, I myself a survivor of sexual abuse, racial abuse, violence, and it just seemed the next step or the next path among many in my overall healing journey. But what I liked most about doing it was, one, as a male, and with having taken the class, have a greater understanding of sexism and, just coming from females, being of females, having sisters, having nieces and aunts and, girlfriends that I care very much about, who unfortunately have been touched by this, by sexism, of course, but personally by the violence, whether sexual or domestic violence. I felt, it is and continues to be a debt that I need to pay for my male privilege. Men will tend to listen to men. Part of our training of sexism is that we do not listen to women or, make light of whatever they have to say or their thinking or whatever. It was a good way to add to my own growth, confront my own sexism. I still have to, do that and put focus on that, even more so being in a relationship with a conscious woman who majored in feminist studies at Santa Cruz.
I've been with Project Survive for about 3 years now. I started working for them. Actually, I put in an application, and just to get hired, you had to take Leslie Simon's class, not knowing how much it would change my life. So as I took her class, I started learning more and more about myself and learning more about what real love is and what real love is not. And it opened doors for other things to help me clean, because I also went through emotional, physical abuse by my ex-husband. And he has taunted me for many years. And when I see women who come into the office, I see myself in them. The training that I got from the Project Survive helped me to help other women. And it also helped me to be a better mom and to love myself and to give me my self-esteem back.
I guess over the course of the past, over 10 years, I've kind of been in and out of Project Survive. I remember I first walked in on my 19th birthday, so I wasn't sure how that was going to turn out, but I ended up keeping in touch with Project Survive for the longest time. What I've got out of Project Survive, I learned a lot of things, and I think especially being in it when I was 19 years old, it definitely transformed me into a woman in a lot of ways. I first learned how to heal myself. I learned public speaking skills. I gained a lot of confidence. And after I learned how to heal myself, I learned how to share that with other people as well. And I became a better daughter, a better friend, a better lover, a better person just in general. After graduating from City College, I went on to San Francisco State University. And after about 2 years at SF State, I graduated with a bachelor's degree in sociology. And I currently work with mental health, people with mental health disabilities. And I love my job, I enjoy my job. And if it weren't for Project Survive, I wouldn't be able to do what I'd be doing now.
I have found the best support system with my coworkers, which is crazy because I don't think I've ever had this many female friends at one time. I talk about it all the time with some of my coworkers, just like I can't believe how close we've gotten when you only, work with each other maybe twice a week or something, and just like the level of commitment we all have to each other is so awesome. Like I've never had anything like that with a group of women who went through a lot of similar things as I did. And I can say I have the most love and respect for them and for Leslie and this program. Working in the high schools is really important to me because I feel like when we get them at their freshman year, even just before college in general, like I feel like we're able to make a difference in a bigger way. Because I can talk to my friends individually and the people I know individually, and just having the knowledge that you learn through the classes that train us, it really does help individuals. But when you get to go share that with a class of 30 freshmen in high school who are just starting off their journey as young adults, like you feel like you really do make a difference. And it's to be doing it in the city that I grew up in, and so I really relate with these kids is just, I couldn't be happier where I'm at right now.
So just thinking back on Project Survive, I would say that experience, starting with Leslie's class, Politics of Sexual Violence, was a stepping stone to help me continue my education. In that class, I was introduced to many ideas that were new to me, such as systems of violence and systems of oppression, and also ways that people practice resiliency and had agency in their own lives. From the moment I took that class, I knew that I wanted to be a peer educator. So the next semester I took Ending Sexual Violence, and that's where I learned presentation skills and what to do with that information that I learned in the first class. So I honestly think without Project Survive, it would have been harder for me to continue through City College. I was a transfer student, and there was a lot of things going on in my personal life with my family and with my relationships, but having
within the educational system, a class and a community that address that issue, those issues such as interpersonal violence or people facing systemic oppression and ending up in the prison industrial complex, having a source that was empowering to learn about those things and teach other people kept me motivated and was a big part of my healing process personally. And when it came to public speaking and working in groups, Project Survive had a great model where we were able to work across differences and help one another and model healthy relationships in our presentations with our partners. So when it came to group work and that sort of thing, I felt prepared. It's not something I love to do, but I was trained in Project Survive how to do that. And one great thing about Project Survive that I learned is that we're constantly learning. And that's why I would consider Leslie a role model for me, is throughout the years, she adds new material, she keeps it relevant, and she keeps herself learning. And she always says, when you go there, it's not a hierarchical structure where we're teaching, we're also observing and learning as well. And that's something I've continued to embrace through my work with youth and with the community today.
The skills and the opportunities that I've gotten and gained through Project Survive have been enormous in breaking down barriers to talk about gender oppression, sexual violence, and in terms of discussing healthy relationships. It's been a pleasure and a privilege to speak to students about forming our ideas together about what healthy relationships mean and how to identify abusive personalities. Sometimes it was difficult to talk about things that people had never spoken to each other about before, but it was easier to talk to them about local resources and people who they could contact to talk about things and get out of abusive relationships. I found that the skills that I've gained through Project Survive helped me in terms of my work today in group facilitation and other projects outside of Survive, but I am always part of Project Survive.